Hi, y'all. Welcome, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program. Let me apologize. We had a big-time snafu on Friday, and it had nothing to do with us. It had nothing to do with Louisiana Network. It had everything to do with the fiber company that we use here, and I'm not cutting them either. It was total all over the state. They had kind of a blackout, and it something happened to that, and boy, us and Louisiana Network were hustling. It wasn't on our end. It wasn't on their end. Finally, it found out the brand I say it's the fiber. I don't know if it was without even mentioning the name. Thanks, Brandon, it's popping up. But I had people telling me it's a conspiracy, all that. No, and I apologize to the stations. I mean, what do you do when you don't know what to do? I mean, it was we went to the backup, wouldn't work. I mean, the whole thing would not connect with Louisiana Network, and that's what we put on the burner. And Brandon, I tell you, it's very frustrating because it was out of our hands.
The odds of it happening on that day at that time, just crazy though.
No, I'll tell you what,
the way it played out.
If you had bet $100, you'd be a wealthy man. So anyway, I do apologize to the affiliates who had to fill the time. The good news is a lot of affiliates were able to go grab the inauguration and things of that nature. But I normally make it a rule not to apologize for things we have nothing to do with. But in this case, it still goes down to us, even though it was something that we couldn't control. But I do feel like our old affiliates, and audience, advertisers, whatever, an explanation for that. Because, I mean, I'm telling y'all, some things happen sometimes. You just sit here in shock going, what the heck's going on? And that's kind of what happened on Friday. It was very disheartening, but there was not a whole lot we could do, and then of course they finished it and fixed it after the program when they found out they had a major problem. By the way,
Brandon, popped on when Trump started speaking.
Yeah, that's about right. But anyway, that's what happened, and God knows if we could have done something about it, we did. But it really had nothing to do with the company, the company we were working with, anything like that. But I feel like that. Everybody needed to know that's what took place. Brandon, to sit here and tell you, it was very frustrating not being able to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And the time they figured it out, Trump was halfway in his address. So I do apologize. I apologize for the stations because they surely had nothing to do with it. I'll take the hit on it, but the bottom line is it should have never happened. And like Brandon said, unless something was to pop on it again today, they claim everything's fixed, ready to roll. So we're just letting y'all know that. Wasn't nothing to do with the station, wasn't nothing to do really with us, but bottom line, it always falls back on my shoulders, and I understand that. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. It almost gets comical. Donald Trump sworn in as the 45th president. And then we got the Women's March. Y'all got to go check out my Facebook. It's hilarious. I mean, we got this tip. We put it on there. And then we get into an argument about who had more people at the at the inauguration. And Obama had 1 million, maybe 2 million more. Who cares? I mean, that's what I don't understand about the Trump people. And I don't blame them for fighting the press. You're going to have plenty of time to do it. But who cares? You do realize that Donald Trump's inauguration was the second highest rated watch on TV than any other one except Ronald Reagan. Obama's wasn't even nowhere near. Obama should have more. That's why I don't understand about Trump and them getting into it. Why do you have to go there? And I know it's Trump. I know. And I don't mind him fighting the press, but pick your fights and when you're going to fight these people, because you're going to have plenty of things to fight. They hate your guts. They hate your guts. So I don't care who had more. Obama had more. Yeah, but Obama ought to have more. It was the home field advantage. Okay? How many people were in D.C.? How many came from out of the inner cities? How many people don't have to go to work every day? How many? It's the first black president. People wanted to be there. So he had more. He didn't have higher TV ratings. Trump was right behind Ronald Reagan. What was it, 36 million? And I think Reagan was 41 million. And to be honest with you, folks, and I was talking to Rob, our program director, I've watched 2 really inaugurations in my whole life, right? Well, 3. I was at one. The first time Bush won. And, boy, that was cold. I remember how cold that was. The other one I watched was Ronald Reagan because it was the first vote I made back in 80. I became a registered voter in 79 when I turned, Brian, I turned 18 in 79. So Reagan was the first vote, so I was really, really interested in that one. I don't know how bad the country was under Jimmy Carter. I don't know how bad we've gotten under Obama. But I actually watched Trump. And, Brandon, I got to tell you, the TV was on. You know, we were sitting in here. And that's probably why I watched it. I probably would have listened to it on the radio because most of the radio stations carried it. So I don't watch a lot of inaugurations. I think it's a big deal. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a big deal for all. It was a big deal when Obama got sworn in. It was a big deal. But to get into an argument with the ignorance of the press when they hate your guts, they're never going to write anything nice about you. I actually, the other day, my bride was gone. I saw CNN late night. One night I was up, and I watched CNN. And, you know, they normally have panels, Brandon, to 3 or 4 people. They had like 27 people on the panel. I think it was 10 or a dozen. And I'm sitting here, and it was one comment after another about how, well, you can see that Obama had this many and Trump had this many. Once again, it was home field advantage for Obama. Big time home field advantage for him. But number 2 is, who cares? More people watch Trump get inaugurated than Obama. But the press makes a big deal out of it, and I think, in a way, Trump and him kind of took the bait. It's trivial. You're the president of the United States now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Obama's done at this point. It doesn't matter what the press says. The press will never like Donald Trump. They never like Ronald Reagan. They never like George Bush, George W. or George A. They're never going to like a Republican. They'll never like a Christian. They'll never like a conservative. They're never going to like them. Of course, unless they act like they're the left. So, you know, that's why you don't have to have that fight. It's just not necessary. By the way, I'm not dogging Trump. I'm just saying Spicer didn't have to go on there and do. Just go ahead and govern now. It's all yours. You're the president of the United States. And I just think that, in all fairness, you got to move forward. The press is never going to say anything nice about Donald Trump, folks. Remember, Trump talked about draining the swamp. The people that were there were from Obama, and the typical swamp dwellers. The swamp dwellers are always going to be there. So it's not a good fight. It's one you can't win. We got so many important issues that we must win on. We must win on. Okay? And I think there's going to be different fights and different things that we can handle. So I was worried about who had the most people. Who has the most people at the inauguration and letting the press run that all weekend on the news when it really wasn't a big deal. Who's the president? Donald Trump. President Trump. So who cares? Who cares how many people attended? That's a trivial thing for Trump's person to get involved in. By the way, I'm just saying it's trivial to me. Boy, the news media makes a big deal. Then, of course, the Women's March. Somebody said somebody on Facebook said that, by the way, I got a funny on my Facebook and Moon Griffon. You don't want to miss it. I'm having fun, ladies. But somebody said that they ought to be thankful, happy to have that many heavy women out there exercising. Somebody wrote that. I went, oh, my God. They wrote that. And by the way, I saw the women, a lot of lesbian, gay couples, all that stuff that loaded that thing up. George Soros, they're saying that big part behind it. But I got to tell you something. I'm just curious from these liberal women and women in general, all you women, when you have a speech like this, and Madonna, when I think of filth, I think of Madonna. First name comes to mind. Okay, nasty, filthy. How many of you people want your young ladies and girls to look at Madonna and say, I want to be filthy like her? The F word, the P word, all this stuff flying around. Is that really what women in America really believe? I just can't. I don't know of many women like that. I'm sorry. I'm probably around some. I just didn't know it. Women that would look up to Madonna. Madonna. And some of these celebrity sluts that are out there all over the place speaking and talking. How many of you people, oh boy, when my daughter grows up, I hope she can be like her. Now, she made a lot of money. If that's what you're talking about, that's different. But these people are just as nasty and filthy. And this is the Democrat Party, party of filth, Brandon. I've always said party of filth. This is what they stand for. This is their speakers. You know, they can't say an F-bomb or a P word. They use that word like it's nothing, too. I'm amazed at what the left has become. It's on display to look at the hate in their heart, the evilness, the immorality. And I cannot believe you women out there, ladies and women out there, look up to the left and the filth and the nastiness that comes out of these minds of these people. and the way they act and the way they treat each other. I just can't believe that. It's hard for me to believe they got women like that in the world. But they make a man look clean. God, they're worse than a man's bathroom, and nothing's worse than a man's bathroom when you talk about nasty. Madonna, boy, Maddie, I hope you can be like Madonna. Boy, that would be really cool, huh, Maddie? Be like Madonna. I could say something wrong with Madonna, but I won't. We'll take a break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. They were saying it. They're just using the P word. You women out there, you call this program and tell me that's how you want your adult women to grow up to be like. I just want to hear you say this. Or is it opposite? You have no part of that, and that's not what you believe in. Because that make you think every woman's like that, and I know better. Take a break. Be back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Got an open line for you on the Hickson Has It hotline. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson Has It hotline. Trump's inauguration rating second biggest in 36 years. Wow. Got to go back to Reagan. Got to go back to Ronald Reagan, who had bigger numbers. We're debating about who was there. Brian, middle class Americans don't pick up and fly out to Washington, D.C. Just don't do it. I hardly ever do it. And but the numbers were there. Remember, during Reagan, there was no social media or none of that stuff. How many people loved that we were getting ready to change the country? Same number of people. Actually more people, just a little smaller percentage. But it's a phenomenal thing to watch. But it's women's march movement. You ladies and women out there, do y'all approve of this? I mean, the speakers they have, the nasty mouth, the P word, the terms they use look like women with a lot of girlfriends were there. My question is that what you want to teach women? Is that what if you have a young lady, a young little precious princess at the house, you want them to watch that and be like that? I mean, I just can't believe, and look, I'm not a woman, last I looked. I don't feel like a woman today, so I can go to the men's bathroom still. That's what you want? That's what you want? I can't believe that. By most normal women, I just can't believe they look at that. And they go, yeah, I want my young lady to be like that. I got problems with that. I think women are turned off by it. Maybe not. Maybe that's what women wanted to be like. It's hard for me to believe that. It's just really hard for me to believe that. And I'm like I said, I'm not going to speak for women because I can't. I can't speak from your perspective. But I do know this: if that's what the women and ladies and women want for our country, we in so bad of trouble we'll never get out of it. Because I watched that and I just like to throw up. That's what you want. And so I just shake my head. Wow, can you believe this? This is what the women want their young ladies, and daddies want their young ladies to be like Madonna. I'm sorry. I don't see it. Oh, I want Maddie. If Maddie can only be like if Maddie can be filthy and nasty. And how about her talking about blowing up the White House? By the way, she's backed up on that, Brandon. She probably got a call from the Secret Service that, what did you say? Blow up the White House. Yeah. Just think if they'd have said that and Obama was the president.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think that would have been pretty interesting comments?
Yeah, it would have created a firestorm in the media. There's no doubt about that.
But since they said it was a woman saying it about Trump, it's cool. It's all cool. See, that's the thing. He hadn't become president. He just became president. Nothing's been done yet. Oh, there's been a few executive orders that may or may not mean something. We'll see. But already, this is what you're going to see. Every time something breaks, the left lunatic, not only women and men, are going to be in the streets. And Trump will get blamed for every bit of it. Whether he has anything to do with it or not, 99% of the times he won't have anything to do with it. I watched it just and hard to believe I mean, if I would have saw my daughter there, or my mom there, or my sister there, I'd be embarrassed. I would be embarrassed if my mama was there. I would be embarrassed if my sisters were there. I'd be embarrassed if my daughter was at something like that. Listening to that crap. And crap is a nice word. I say, just get a call in here. Doug in Shreveport. How you doing, Doug?
Hey, Moon.
Yes,
of
sir.
all the things to call you about, I just had a flashback to when I was in high school, and I was in a Key Club, and we did a project one summer where we painted the girls' bathroom in the high school. And I thought there was some pretty nasty stuff written on the walls in the boys' bathroom. Wasn't anything close to what was written on the girls' bathroom wall. And I learned a lot about some of my classmates while we did that little project.
Well, maybe some of those women who have daughters now, maybe they were all at this march.
Well, I don't know which ones were doing the writing, but it was an enlightening experience. That's all I can say.
Yeah, they had anti-Trump protesters this past weekend were holding up ISIS flags and beheading videos in Washington, D.C. Thanks for the call. I mean, in Washington, D.C., Brandon, ISIS flags and beheading videos to intimidate Trump supporters. I want you to think about that. That's what the things that you and me didn't get to see because they weren't going to put that on CNN, folks. I don't even know if they put it on Fox. But that was what they did to taunt people. So the crazies were out there, no doubt about it, and they are. They're a bunch of lunatics. But you're going to see a lot of this. Absolutely. It's all they know. Protests and the race card. That's all they're going to play for the next 4 years. That's all they got. It's not much, but it's all. Unless women really believe what they saw on TV is what they stand for. We got to take a break. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. By the way, Hickson Autoplex in Alexandria tomorrow in conjunction with KSYL 970 AM. We'll see you then. We'll be right back. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. By the way, you ladies and women out there, I haven't heard from you except I got a bunch of emails from women that you believe in what the march stood for? Would you like your women to get, young ladies, be able to go be involved in something like that? P word, F-bombs, and all that stuff, man. That's what you want your women to turn out to be, huh? By the way, Women's March organizer recently met ex-Hamas operative, has family ties to terror group. That's what it looked like to me. I'm not going to say it was a terror group, but it looked like a group with no morals and no values. That's what it looked like to me. But who am I? What do I know? I'm just one little talk show host. Let's go to Bobby in Lafayette. How you doing, Bobby?
Good. How are you?
Miss Bobby, I'm doing fine. Good to hear from you.
You too. I wanted to tell you that I participated in the Women's March, but it was in November, and we marched right into the voting booth, and we elected Donald J. Trump.
Hey, that was the best march we could find, and a lot of women voted for him.
That's right.
But let me ask you a question. Did you watch any of the march or read anything about it?
Yes, my cousin actually participated in it.
Oh, well, we all got one. Do you have any young ladies at home?
I have 2 daughters.
But when you watch and see that, is that something, listening to Madonna and some of these people talk, is that something that you think your women should inspire to become like?
Not at all.
I
have a daughter who's 19, and she didn't vote, but she looks at all that and she just shakes her head. So I'm praying that in 4 years, she'll be able to vote her.
Well, a lot of you. By the way, Bobby, just so somebody say your kid. I had young kids that didn't vote, and look what I do for a living. I get on them all the time to make sure they vote. Young people don't vote in big numbers. People don't understand that. They really don't, and that's why the left plays on the young people because they don't have a clue what's going on. They just propaganda. You can propagandize young people so easy. I'm not saying all of them. That's not right to say, but a lot of them. And you can propagandize them to go vote. But I don't think your daughters. I don't think you want anything like the people that were. I'm not saying all the people that were bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you don't want the speakers. You don't want your daughters imitating that kind of filth. I don't think you do.
No, not at all.
But I do think you're right. There was a march to go vote. Now, Brandon brought up a good point. He read that they didn't let anybody that was pro-life. They didn't want any pro-life representatives there. But it was a woman's march.
Yeah.
But you had to believe a certain way. You had to believe a leftist slant.
Right.
So,
I told my cousin that was so-called all-inclusive women's march except for pro-life.
Yeah, except for pro-life, and I don't think they wanted many people married to men either. That's just my assumption of what I watched.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. All right, thank you, darling. Appreciate the call. Brandon, did you see any of it?
I didn't watch that. I mean, I saw the
I had to watch
but
some of it, but I mean, they may have had, the only men were there were the ones they told they had to go. Let's go. Let's go to Cornelius. Cornelius, how you doing?
Yeah, Moon, and that mighty brick Brad the handlers Monday morning there, Mr.
Best day of the work week.
Look, I watched that piece of trash and watched Madonna say, "Burn down the White House."
Yeah, but she don't get in trouble for that.
But yeah, now they send the Secret Service to me saying I threatened to kill Obama, and then she said,
God.
"Oh no, you didn't." Yeah. So, see, your friend. They said, "Oh, Mr. White's threatening to kill Obama. We got to stop him."
Yeah,
turned out.
But from the left, you can say what you want to because they won't cover it. I'm just curious from women who watch this. They may say this is exactly how I want my daughter to be. That's fine. I just want to know what part of the filth do you really want in this, because I'm telling you, when you watch what these women were saying, the P word, the F word, I'm going, boy, that's some class. A lot of class in the Democrat Party, I noticed.
Let me say one more thing, and I'm going to let some other callers get in. If y'all watch Glenn Beck today, he's on channel 212 on Dish and 42 on Suddenlink. He'll re-air his broadcast at 1 o'clock to 4, and then at 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. He's coming out with a lot. George Soros is behind all this stuff.
Yeah, Soros, they got pictures of billionaire putting together all this stuff. Once again, very immoral man who doesn't believe in God or anything else. He just believes in running the United States of America. Got to go. Thanks for the call. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Miss Ann in Lake Charles. How you doing, Miss Ann?
I'm doing great, Moon. Excuse me, I'm a little sick this morning, but I'm just curious as to where all of these women were. Where was the march when Bill Clinton was sexually assaulting women? Where was the women's march when Hillary Clinton was defending child rapists and supporting terrorist countries who really oppress women? And as far as these celebrities, disgusting. Yeah. Disgusting.
By the way, Ann, you make a great point. The same women, when Bill Clinton was having all his fun with women, misusing an intern, never showed up. So to me, those people have no respect. The press, the press can go ahead and show them as being something great. They are showing who they are. Their liberal ideology is their religion, is their God. The rest of it don't matter.
What are they marching for? I'm a woman. I'm almost like I have female guilt. Almost. Like I'm embarrassed.
Girl, if you guilty because you can't say the F word and the P word like Madonna and them, I don't know what you're guilty of.
Well, I mean, I'm just embarrassed right now. I'm not sure what rights they feel they're missing out on. I mean, I'm one of 3 girls, and I mean, I'm confused.
So there was a sign. They had many signs that were put up, and I did actually look at some of those. And I was showing this to my brother last night, and one of the signs said, it was a woman holding up a sign that said, "I wish I had as many rights as guns do." And I'm thinking, boy, that's got to be one of the dumbest signs I've ever seen, considering how restricted guns are in some parts of this country.
Unfortunately, Brandon, guns don't have a right. People do. They're just so misguided and blinded.
It's very ironic. It's ironic that they wouldn't let the women who are pro-life march, but women's rights are human rights. It's just so ironic to me. I mean, I could never.
You got to remember. Go ahead.
I'm just frustrated this morning.
Well, you know what though? That's why I asked for women to call. I just can't believe real women, real ladies want their daughters to be anything like they saw on TV. And it couldn't have been any trashier with the wording and bring these celebrity sluts in and do what they did. I mean, it is ridiculous to bring that. Just like when the Democrats in general, everything's racism. You know, everything is, you know, so far to the left that whole party has fallen off the cliff. It's almost becoming an un-American party. Very un-American in what they believe.
I know. God.
But I got to believe that most women or ladies, when they look at that, they want to puke just like you.
They do. I mean, they do. I really do believe that. I feel like if the women who felt like me were to come together, trust me, there wouldn't be enough room on the street. So I'm going to go ahead and rest assured at night knowing that, because, I mean, that's all you can do, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. And thanks. Appreciate it. Take care of them babies. Yeah. Tell them don't watch Madonna. They'll be better off. James in Lafayette. How you doing, James?
I'm doing good, Moose. Thanks for taking my call. I'm going to make a quick comment. I hope I don't offend anybody, but you were saying the different, you were saying ladies and women, it goes the same for men and gentlemen. It's, a lady is someone who's not going to drop all these F-bombs and things like that. There's a difference between the two, Same thing with a gentleman and a man. You're born into being a man. It takes some work to be a gentleman,
Yeah, you're probably right.
It goes the same way. A lady, they're born into being women, but a lady, it takes some work to be a real lady, not to say those things and not to do those things.
But think about it, though. You get national coverage and your spokespeople, because you're not going to hear what these other women are saying. Your spokespeople, the P word, not the N word, the P word, and the, what was the other thing I was saying?
F-bombs.
Yeah, the F-bombs. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. This is what you want real America to think this is really women? I would think women would want to defend themselves against this kind of trash. I would think, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, I got to run. Thanks for the call. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Don't forget, in Alexandria at Hickson Autoplex tomorrow. Come by and visit with you. We'll feed you some Best Stop Boudin. I'm going to bring some. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, and now some most of Trump's nominee could face weeks of delays. Chucky Schumer is going to try to delay all this stuff. Do you realize when Obama was elected, they approved 7 cabinet members the day of the inauguration?
Yeah.
7. Proving the Democrats, what are they? Control, down, beat down. That's all they ever do. Think if the press only covered stuff like they should. First of all, Obama wouldn't have been president. But and they really did everybody fair. They aren't mentioning that Obama had 7 of his passed the day in August. They're already sitting in there. That's not what they're going to try to do. They're trying to hold them up. General James Mattis and John Kelly, who's Homeland Security, they're going to let them go through pretty quick. Other picks could wait weeks and possibly even months before Senate confirmation. That's how you do when you want to screw a country up, not move it forward. What do Democrats do? Control, conquer, dominate, destroy freedom. Them son of a guns have nowhere. Somebody can tell me Democrats are liberals. No. Socialist Marxists, maybe. Nowhere close to liberal.
Now, I did watch when President Trump talked about Pompeo, the new CIA director, his nominee for CIA director, and he was telling the people there he could not speak any higher of Pompeo. I mean, the utmost respect he had for Pompeo. I mean, like, he couldn't say anything more complimentary, flattering. I mean, talked about the position and how uber important it is. And I know some of that was, all the reports
PR.
that have been coming out. Yeah, it was good PR. But to talk about the man himself, though, he couldn't have given better compliments to him.
That's good, though. Well, we'll see what happens, Brandon. I mean, I'm just telling you what they say they're going to do. Once again, that's a press report. It could be a lie, although Greg Hillman was not writing it. Let's go to Ray in Kaplan. Ray, how you doing?
Hey, hi, Moon. Isn't it amazing that many women would march on Washington for the rights to kill their own kids?
Yeah, I've always said that the group gets together because they can kill their babies. I mean, imagine how devious that is. That's almost, it's satanic. Oh, we're marching for the right to kill a baby. Wow.
Yeah,
Boy, you really stand for a lot, don't you?
Yeah, it's kind of discouraged. But Chuck U. Schumer's going to get that all straightened out.
Yeah.
Chuck U. Schumer.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that you stand up?
We got to go hard and roll ahead of us, I'll tell you that.
Oh, Schumer's going to be worse. He's going to make Harry Reid look like a saint. He's going to make Harry Reid look like a nun. How about that? A nun. All right.
Well, we got none of Harry Reid, so that's good.
Oh, that's good, but you got a lot of Chucky Schumer, I'm telling you. And the left loves nasty, filthy, hateful people. Didn't they accuse our side of doing that? Just like the guy, who was the guy with the Chick-fil-A, owned Chick-fil-A? Said, I believe in traditional marriage. Oh, hate. We start boycotting his stores from the left. All he said was, I'm for traditional marriage. And, of course, we rallied behind him. But that's what they do. I'm for traditional marriage. There's only one marriage. Anyway, it's a man and a woman. But anyway, that's hate. That's just hate. And they start trying to close down a store. By the way, Chick-fil-A is doing pretty good, folks, by the way. Making profits every year. Okay, great. All right, 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. Well, how do you say the name?
Giselle.
Giselle out of Shreveport. Giselle, how you doing?
How are you? God bless you. It's such a privilege to be on the phone with you. We listen to you every day, me and my husband.
Well, God bless you, Shay. I appreciate it. That tells me you have nothing to do and all day to do it.
Exactly.
And you putting up with me every day. You got nothing to do and all day to do it, Amber. Go ahead.
No, and I'm like, I'm just appalled by how women allow themselves to be degraded to the point where they allow some man to call them the B word. And it's like, really, do you even know what that is? That is a female dog. What does female dogs do? They have all these different daddies and they got all these babies, and it's like, you know, it's like, I just don't understand it. Why would you allow a man to call you all these names and you think it's a trophy? Actually,
the women that you see in March, they kind of take that as an honor word. It's like, how big a one can I be? I mean, look, that whole thing was appalling.
I think of it as a trophy.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. They act like this is a good thing, and I'm sitting here going, man, I've heard women call women that. I go, wow.
No, I know they call each other that, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then the other thing, it's like, you know, like the person right before me said, it's like, you know, they think it's cool to, you know, have, you know, they always say this thing about it's my body, it's my right. And I said, really? I said, that's not your body that's in there. That is another human being that is in there that they don't have a choice because they can't speak.
Yeah. But
you're going to take over them and think that you have a right over them just because they're inside of your body. But
just
you know, there's another life.
Just think about this. If a woman is pregnant and you shoot and kill the woman and the baby, it's a double murder. And look, this whole thing with life and when it starts, you have to be repugnant. You have to be to the left, and you have to not believe in the Lord to believe that's okay. And somebody, well, I'll go to church and I'll believe that. Then you have the problem. I'll let you deal with God. But it's ridiculous to think that one of your defining moments is because we can kill babies. I mean, think about how sick that is. Yet you got a group out there yesterday or day before, whenever they were marching, that you talk about sick. And just a bunch, I'm telling you, look at the whole group of them. And yet their hero is Madonna. I want you to think about Madonna. Lord have mercy. Gee whiz. All right, anyway, thanks for the call.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man. Appreciate the call. What you laughing at me for? I hope you're laughing at her laughing at me.
I'm cutting the middleman out, and I'm laughing at you.
Maybe I come to think of it, I do pay you to run the board and laugh at me. Mark in Bayou Blue. I passed Bayou Blue not too long ago. I thought about you.
Oh, man, you should have stopped. We could have at least gone fishing for a couple hours.
Since I hadn't gotten a fishing trip offer yet, I just kept going. I snubbed you.
Eternal offer to go fishing.
I snubbed you just like you snubbed me.
You have an unending fishing invitation.
Let me tell you what. Let me tell you how people treat me. Everybody tells me, I want Brandon to listen to this. I'm gonna take you fishing. We're gonna go, but I never really get invited. They know I don't play golf and I don't hunt. I get invited to go hunting and golf all the time. You know why? Because they know I'm going to say no. The only fishing trip offers I get are the ones like yours. Oh, we're going to go. You got an open invitation. Well, I don't do no. Okay, I want to go right now. You ready?
Yep.
See, when people, Brandon, I'm going to tell you, I get calls, hey, we're playing golf tomorrow. You want to go? No. They hang up and go, good. I knew he would say no. You want to go hunting tomorrow? No. My buddy Jade Andrews asked me to go hunting all the time. You know why? He knows I'm going to say no. But when it comes to fishing, I never get asked. He just sends me pictures from Toledo Bend that somebody else caught the fish, but that's beside the point.
We will make it happen.
All right, what you were going to talk about?
Anyway, tomorrow our group, we have a group from the Diocese of Houma Thibodeau that's leaving to go for the March for Life. It's a peaceful protest.
When is that march? When is that actual march? This weekend?
The actual march is Friday.
Yeah, I got
about 500,000 people.
I got a friend of ours that his kids play on a basketball team, and he has purposely taken a couple of his boys, and I talked to him the other day, and I think that's big. It's like you said, they'll always remember that. So he's taken two of his older boys. I'll give his last name. It's Alex Mouton, who's a great guy, and him and his bride, and they got 5 kids, and they are taking his kids to this event. And I think that's probably, he's going to stay the whole weekend, so there must be some other events.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on, the day before, the day of. Kellyanne Conway is slated to speak at the march, whereas for the last 8 years, President Obama has gone to play golf. He wouldn't even listen to us, to any of that.
I hope he plays really a lot of golf.
Yeah, I hope he gets at least 300 rounds a year in for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
That's the safer place. But it's amazing to see these younger kids that are involved in the right to, the right for life movements throughout the communities, and these kids are not sitting there; they're not jumping in somebody's face like the protesters are. That will be towards my kids when we're up there, and they're not. They're praying. These people in their prayers. That people are always going. They're seeking out people who may have been considering abortion.
Hey, Mark, I got to go because we got to cook because we got to go. But thanks for the call. We'll take a break. More calls after this. More to come. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. I had somebody walk up to me and show me a picture of a beautiful women that were there, young women. But I said, yeah, but they were young. They brainwashed.
Cool.
I ain't going to tell you what he told me. But anyway, how y'all all? Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. Brandon, I did put in a call. I don't know if they'll get in this hour. I've called Secretary of State Tom Shedler. Tom Shedler is concerned about what Obama did in the last second of the last week. They're basically trying to put our election process in 50 states under Homeland Security, which is the dumbest thing ever happened. They're using, of course, the Russia for what they did, which they didn't do anything. They didn't steal any election, didn't steal any votes. So we don't need to be on that. Homeland Security already controls too much. So Shedler was asking Donald Trump to go back and swipe that executive order out of there. And I hope he does it. But I wanted Tom to come on, Secretary of State, because I think it's important to remember that we're still 50 separate states. Yeah, we are the United States of America. Every state has a different way of voting, Brandon. Some of them may be exactly alike, some of them are totally different. And it's very hard for somebody to manipulate 50 states. Well, you wouldn't have to manipulate 50 states, but you can manipulate some. But if you put everything under one roof, it's going to be easy to manipulate what you need to manipulate. So Obama did this. Once again, I think he did it on purpose because he loves the one world order type government. He likes everything controlled by one person or two people making all the decisions. That's what he likes. So that's why he did what he did. Well, Shedler and some of these Secretary of States who oversee our election process are very upset about it, and I don't blame them. We don't need this. So I know Tom was one of the first ones he used to be Senator Tom Shedler. He was one of the first ones to jump out and say this is totally wrong. So he's trying to do something about it. Anyway, we got a call in for him. I don't know if we'll hear from him today. If we do hear from him today, I'm going to put him right on, Brandon. So I did give him the line 3 number, our special coded line that you got to have a special code to get on. And hopefully he will get a chance to call us. If not today, we'll get him. And I want him to talk about this because I think it's very, very important. Relief is on the way, what Trump's Obamacare executive order will do. And it's a lot. It's a lot to get rid of this trash so people like me can go buy good insurance. I got good insurance. It's just not affordable. One of the things they said in this, and I used to say this when they passed it, was that in large part, the law itself granted the executive branch, which would be the presidential branch, executive branch considerable discretionary authority, you ready, to fill in the details through regulations. You remember when Obamacare was passed, and Brandon, you remember this, I told you what it was. It was a big old box, and they're going to write the rules as they go. Nancy Pelosi, if you want to know what's in it, you got to pass it. They never had anything in it, folks. This whole thing was they had to write it as they go. Now they're saying this in a press deal, fill in the detail through regulations. That's what they did with this stupidity thing that they passed. And now that they got 20 million new people getting subsidies, by the way, the subsidies are getting too high for them to afford it too. That's the funny thing about it, Brandon. They put me out to business, and then they're taking the people that could pay for it with subsidies. Now they're getting ready to price them out to business. So, but I always said that this was a fill in the blank. A fill in the blank Obamacare that they would regulate and change as they go. That's what they've done. They said the implementation approach taken by the Obama administration was essentially to try to increase subsidized enrollment, heedless of any resulting cost or disruption to either the public and private sectors. We're going to put their goal was get as many people in it, because then now, well, you're going to take away my health care plan, just like you're saying. That was the goal always. The goal always was to screw it up, to screw up the whole healthcare system. And the way you do that is you got 20 million people going, well, I never had insurance, and now I got it, and now you're going to take it away from me, but we subsidize it. So the goal was to get as many people as you can. It's a PR job. So, and they didn't ever care about costs. Remember, this was going to be, people said, well, I only vote for it if it doesn't increase the deficit. $10 trillion on Obama, folks. Trust me, big part of it. You know, so we'll see what happens with all this stuff. I'm hoping they'll give me a chance to buy into competition on health care, because I'm one of the ones that were affected on the other side that they don't give a damn about. You always had health insurance. Now it's time for somebody else. So put me out of business. I know some of you people think, I'm just making this stuff. But Brandon, you seen the premiums. Mm-hmm. I can show you the checks. And there's not a lie coming out of my mouth on any of this. The truth is, I'm one of the ones that's getting penalized for going to work every day. I'm one of the ones getting penalized for going to work and trying to provide for my family. I'm being penalized for that. On the other hand, somebody else is getting subsidies. They're getting help with this. Now, I got to tell you, that's not fair. This is the difference, too. I don't want their damn subsidies. I don't want a penny. I want to just move on. One guy wants to know if I want to go to lunch and a Madonna concert. You know what I wrote back? Just a Madonna concert. So anyway, this whole thing was just a shell, and it was explained to me by somebody I know very well that's in the business. Said the whole thing's a shell moon. They're gonna just add things and add things and add things and add things and take away things as they go. It's not really a plan. What was the pages? 2,600 pages, 3,000 pages, 17,000 pages of regulation. I mean, just a sick thing. You got people still bragging that was one of Obama's greatest accomplishments. They say to get people on insurance, they've never been on it, but really was to screw the whole system up. And they did a heck of a job. And all I'm saying is, I'm just like everybody out there. I want the chance to be able to go compete without anybody handing me a thing. You got people that want stuff handed to them so they don't have to compete. They don't have to go out and be the best they can be. I had somebody call out there, well, my insurance went down. Well, then you ought to thank me because mine went up. It kind of balanced out. Mine didn't go up. Mine went up ridiculously. Brandon, get this. This may be Shadler and them, and you can maybe book the appointment. You can book it for any time, any day, because I do think they want to get on, and I do want to give them some pub on that. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Let's go to Kent in DeVille. Kent, how you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm doing fine this morning, Moon.
Thank you.
God bless you this morning.
Thank you, sir.
God has something to say about all those marches. It was a long time ago. It is found in Exodus 23, verses 1 and 2. I'll read it to you right quick and then hear your comments. You shall not circulate a false report. Do not put your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. You shall not follow a crowd to do evil, nor shall you testify in a dispute so as to turn aside after many to pervert judgment. And that was God talking to Moses on Mount Sinai.
Mm-hmm.
Have a great day.
You're watching a lot of that.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate the call. Hey, you're watching a lot of that. I can promise you. Did they say they're going to come on? They're going to let you know when?
They're trying to call in right now.
Oh, good. If we get Tom.
So if anybody's listening, please don't call right now. We're trying to get
we want to get Secretary Tom Shetler on. We do want to get him on because I think what he's talking about is very important. Matter of fact, Brandon, when we do get him on, if he calls in right now, we may take a quick break, a little earlier break. That we can have a little bit more time with Tom Shetler, Secretary of State, on what the president did walking out as president, which really could affect the way things happen in an election cycle. So we want to make sure that we talk to him. And I want to get his take on it because he was one of the first ones to jump up and say, look, this is wrong what the president did. So he's like, Brandon, Tom got time? Does he have time for us to take a quick break? Because we're close on the break. Ask him real quick because it'll give him a little bit more time on the air. And I didn't know what his time was like. But, we're right up on a break anyway in the next couple of minutes. So I say let's take the break. Come back, Secretary of State Tom Shetler. What did Obama and them do that got him upset? And I think Tom's right on the money. We take the break. Take it right now. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Secretary of State Tom Shetler would join us. He's upset about something the president did. And, by the way, Secretary of State's right on the money. We want to hear from his side of the story. And, by the way, we put in a call for Obama, but we can't find him. We'll be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline, joined by Secretary of State, a great state of Louisiana, Tom Shetler. Mr. Shetler, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Moon. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, the reason I called you, I saw this, and you were one of the ones that was speaking out, so I said, you know what, let's get it right from the horse's mouth. What did the president do that got you all pumped up? And by the way, what I read and saw, I agreed 100% with you, but I just wanted you to explain to people what's going on.
Sure. 2 weeks prior to leaving office, President Obama, through his Secretary of Homeland Security, Jay Johnson, put elections on across the nation on what we call critical infrastructure. Critical infrastructure, there's 16 issues that are critical infrastructure, the grid, banking, agriculture, and various others, and now have added elections. Moon, where this all emulated, and I want to separate this just for a moment with your listening audience. I am not referring to the current debate on Russian hacking regarding emails. This has nothing to do with that. I take no position on that. But this has to do with where this all started back in August, September, after the DNC was allegedly hacked by the Russians. Mm-hmm. That the president indicated, and this in the past administration indicated, that the election day voting process was going to be hacked into and votes were going to be changed. So that's what I'm referring to. So it emulated from that, FBI, Homeland Security, and the like. We as states, with the National Association of Secretaries of State, and I was just getting off a year term as that president, so I was very active. We had various conversations, about 4 or 5 conference calls with Secretary Johnson. We had the FBI and whatever come in here to look at our system and the like. But it was very obvious from the beginning that none of these folks really understood how elections are performed across the country. And by that I mean, and I testified before a couple of congressional hearings, and I'll never forget this, the chairman of Lamar out of Texas asked me, well, Mr. Secretary, you have a Rice University professor here and some others. Why do you personally and why does your association believe that this cannot happen? And I said, well, Mr. Chairman, it's very simple. No state votes on the Internet. Mm-hmm. So how do you hack something in cyberspace that's not in cyberspace?
Great point.
So,
Great point.
I graduated from USL at the time, but I didn't have an MIT graduate degree. But That's a pretty simple
So
answer.
what you're telling me, I could get on the internet and be the smartest man in the world. I'm never going to be able to hack a voting machine, which, by the way.
That's correct.
By the way, Tom Schell, Secretary of State, is what you do, and you try to get it right every single time, and the bottom line is they can't hack into the machines off a computer. And so we don't need I'm taking it, Homeland Security steps in and says, okay, all 50 states, y'all under us, y'all gonna all do it the same way. We don't need that.
That is correct. It's the first step to nationalizing elections.
Thank you.
And the strength of the system is the 50 different state systems. The
Bingo.
U.S. Constitution indicates that time, manner, and place of elections is delegated to the states. So it's a states' rights issue versus federal government. But why would we want to give someone purportedly one target to hit to affect all 50 when right now, and let me give you an example.
Yes, sir.
In Louisiana, if you wanted to go mess with my elections, first off, you have to figure out how to do it with each machine, but you'd have to break into 64 warehouses under lock and key and camera, undetected, take the panel off the back of the machine, and probably take 10, 15 minutes if you're really proficient to tinker with it to do whatever you're going to do. Well, how is that going to happen? It'd be easier for all the people you'd have to involve in that fraud, it'd be easier to convince them to vote your way at the ballot box to perfect the election instead of doing that. Yeah. So it's a lunacy concept. It's a typical overreach from the federal government that we're used to. And look, they haven't shown to me some 16 federal agencies from the Department of Defense on down have been hacked into. What do I want the federal government telling me how to do it? We had to come test our system. It was sound. You couldn't get into it. And we got a gold star from them. So I don't need the federal government meddling in elections in Louisiana. We know how to do it. Yeah. We don't have problems like some other states have. And, we stand on that. And look, this is a nonpartisan issue. My Democratic colleagues on the phone with Secretary Johnson were equally upset about this, and it's been a unified front, and we're meeting in Washington in February to try to push this envelope a little bit.
By the way, that was an awesome point. They hacking Hillary's emails. They hacking in all these departments. They getting information, and now all of a sudden you're going to put the election under the same process so it can really be hacked? That makes no sense.
Right.
By the way, the president did this walking out of office, basically, didn't he?
2 weeks, 5:40 on a Friday afternoon on January 6th.
What was his, if I can ask, I hate to even ask you, what was his purpose? What was his reasoning behind this?
That's a good way to conclude this. We have sent 4 letters to the Department of Homeland Security asking them to clarify for us in writing exactly what this means, because we constantly keep hearing it doesn't mean anything, it's voluntary. Well, if it's voluntary and it doesn't mean anything, why are we in it? We have yet to receive a response. Matter of fact, in the last 2 conference calls with Secretary Johnson, when the questions weren't going his way, he had to quickly go to another meeting and the phone conference was concluded.
Yeah. By the way, to fix this, quick executive order by Donald Trump, it's done?
Yes, I believe maybe the new Secretary General Kelly can do it on his own, but with it probably to be safe, because there was a directive, I think it's number 86, 85 from Obama in August or September that directed Jeb Johnson to do this. To be safe, it probably would be best to have President Trump do that. But I believe the Secretary in and of itself can do away with it.
Okay, well, and that's the hope right now that y'all working on. I take it, not only you,
yes,
but the
I
rest
wrote
of
a
the
letter, and some of my other colleagues are in the process of doing the same. And of course, we haven't got a response yet, but I wouldn't have expected one with the inauguration.
No, but I think it's coming. It should come pretty quick,
right.
Tom. I believe that, but that's when you put somebody in these positions like president, you're going to get what you're going to get. And if you put somebody in believes that government ought to control everything, then that's what you're going to get. And that's why elections have consequences. Tom Schedler, Secretary of State of the great state of Louisiana. Tom, anything we can do to help you real quick before I let you go?
I appreciate the opportunity to, let people know. I mean, our system is sound. I mean, I always have said that, if you start questioning, and it was one of the sad things that came out of this past election, there was a lot of questions about the integrity of the process and what have you. And The worst thing you want is people losing confidence in the voting process. You turn into a third world country overnight.
Well, do me a favor. If you get some good news, please let us know so we can let our audience know.
Well, this is a classic example of here I'm from the federal government. I want to help you.
All right, brother. Secretary
you,
of State Tom Shedler. Thank you, Tom. All right, quick break. Your comments are welcome. 844-766-6607. That's Obama. That's the guy some of you people voted for. My God. Thank the Lord. New day. We'll be right back. Hey, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline if you'd like to be part of the Moon Griffon Show. It's your opportunity to be a voice. I appreciate Tom Shedler, our Secretary of State, and I wanted to get him on here so you can hear it from him that, what Obama did again to let's put everything on the Homeland Security. I like when people call. Somebody tells me, George Bush started Homeland Security. He did. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of it either. There's some things we had to do, but I don't agree with all that. But listen, they're already saying that Obama left Trump the most powerful president ever because of executive orders and the stuff that he took over. Who did that? Obama did it. Hoping Hillary would have it. And if they'd have got the Supreme Court, wow. And by the way, when Trump does Supreme Court guy or lady, he better make dang sure he's got somebody that's tough as nails, because when they finish flooring them, they're going to have to be tough as nails. If I was Trump, and I'm not Trump, and he's not going to take my advice, if I was Trump, I would find the toughest, conservative, constitutional woman I could find, because the first one they're going to knock down. I'm not saying they're going to beat him. But he's going to have to find somebody really tough. He's going to get, I don't know if y'all saw Ginsburg. Ginsburg's in very poor health when they did the inauguration. Very poor health. She's next to go. I don't mean die. She's the next one to leave. Very liberal. So he's going to have to replace probably the best Supreme Court justice we may ever had. And replace one of the most liberal that we ever had. So, by the way, Mark Rubio will back Tillerson for Secretary of State. So that's a done deal. He's going to be Secretary of State. No matter what they try to stop, he's going to be Secretary of State. But Trump's going to have an opportunity for two. It would be a 5-4 vote and a 6-3 vote. So we got to win that. He's got to put people he can count on to vote right. U.S. Supreme Court on Monday declined to hear an appeal by Texas seeking to revive the state's strict Republican-backed voter identification requirement that a lower court found discriminatory effect on black and Hispanic people. Yep, had to show ID. That's racist, baby. And the Supreme Court's not going to hear it. To fix the law, discriminatory effects against minorities. How does it do that? Because you have to show an ID. There's the left again. Unbelievable. 15-judge panel of the New Orleans-based appeals court ruled 9-6 that the Texas law had a discriminatory effect. So in other words, folks, you shouldn't have to have IDs to vote. Let them vote. Amazing. Let's go to Frank in Monroe. How you doing, Frank?
Hi, I'm fine. I was thinking that this is the Russian scare, so to speak, should be the very reason that Trump should mandate that every state does have its own ID law as just part of the start to make sure that elections are fair and honest. Because we may not have everything perfect, but let's use this as a reason, make a positive impact of that by saying, okay, we had a Russian scare. Let's immunize our process by making sure that every voter is correctly identified and that their vote is not disenfranchised by possible nefarious outside forces.
But here's the thing. First of all, we need to have separate elections in each state, just like we do now. And number two is everybody should have to identify themselves. These courts that are throwing this stuff out, this is crazy. All they want you to do is identify yourself. What is so bad about it? You got to identify yourself when you write a check? You got to identify yourself if you get a welfare check? You got to identify yourself if you get a Social Security check? You got to identify I got to identify myself when I go to the dentist and they said, "Have you changed your insurance?" They make me identify myself. I need your I need your driver's license. I need something. So everything, look, when you go to the Democrat National Convention, you had to identify yourself. When Obama became president, to get anywhere close to that stage, you had to identify yourself. So what's the problem? But when it comes to elections, we don't have to identify ourselves.
But this is just more meat for the courts to consider that now it's more important. So go ahead and admit that the Russians may have had some influence, and to ensure that even more, that it's more unlikely that it happens, is to mandate every state to have its own form of ID.
Yeah.
I think this is a great excuse. Now the courts have this other data to say, hey, there's more reason than ever to ensure that the process has its own integrity, that each state ensures greater integrity for the process.
I think Tom Shedler made a great point, too, Brandon, when we was sitting there talking about, look at the federal government and how much hacking has gotten into the federal government, the hacking into Hillary Clinton's emails. Why would you want to have one system of voting for everybody so they can so they can think about it?
Yeah.
So they can hack our election process? Doesn't make any sense.
So it'd be easier, yeah, if it's one system.
Yeah. All right, brother. Appreciate the call, Frank. Appreciate it. 844. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. 766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Hickson Autoplex tomorrow in Alexandria, conjunction with KSYL 970 AM. You want to come check us out? We will have the boudin from the best stop. I promise you. All right. Let's go to Steve in Alexandria. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, pretty good, Moon. How you doing today?
Doing fine, sir.
Moon, I just got a simple comment. You know, I spent 10 years in the United States Air Force, where I spent time in combat during Desert Storm. And when I look back today, what's going on, especially with these marches in Washington and everything, it makes me wonder why I actually put myself in that position. You know, it's hard to swallow that these people are actually, I don't know.
Go ahead. Are you still there? Go ahead. I'm listening.
No, it makes me wonder what the mindset of all these people. You know, why are they doing this? You know, if this country was as bad as what they think it is, why they just don't go visit other countries to see exactly what it's really like?
But I've said it all the time. Why don't you go live in Venezuela for a year and then come back and tell us how we ought to be like those countries? Go live in Cuba. Just go live for a year. All these people to the left, go live in Cuba, Venezuela, Iran. Go live. And if you like it more than the United States of America will make you a deal, you can stay there.
Exactly. You know, I worked for Exxon for 10 years after I got up to the Air Force. I worked in the overseas division. I've been to all over the world. I've been to Brazil. And Brazil's a pretty pretty stable country. You know, it's one of the least affected countries as far as the tourism. You know, if they went to Brazil and actually tried to go 20 miles down the road without getting stopped and getting searched, you know, they just don't know what they're out there.
Yeah.
You know, it just boggles my mind. It really does.
Yeah, I understand. Steve, got to run. Thanks for the call. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Gordon in Lafayette. How you doing, Gordon?
Hey, I'm doing good, Moon. Thank you for taking my call. It's an honor to talk with you.
Yes, sir. Good to have you with us.
I'm listening to you guys, man. I don't know if you've seen. There's a video that's been circulating around the internet. It's a Water's World style interview where this guy goes around interviewing liberals about the issue of voter ID laws and all that, and he asks why. Of each of them, why do you think these laws are necessary?
Mm-hmm.
And each of them to the T says, "Oh well, you know, it's to help the poor and disenfranchised, the uneducated people that wouldn't have access to ID or computers or smartphones." Well, then the guy goes and he interviews a lot of what would be termed the poor and disenfranchised by those definitions, and he interviews a lot of African American people, Latino people, etc. And to the T, these people were insulted across the board that the liberal population would think that much of them, that they were uneducated, unable to use a computer, unable to drive to the DMV. And it was just an interesting take to see that the voter ID laws to a lot of the minority population could potentially, they could be insulting to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see your point.
Right.
It's amazing. Amazing. All right, brother, I got to run. Thanks for the call. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll take a break, be right back. By the way, Brandon, California snowpack near 200% of average. They've got snow coming, and they didn't want to talk about it to the 16th paragraph. Why? Why do you think? Man-made global warming. We'll take a break, be right back.